Morning, Gene. This is your transmission out of your '05 Volvo S60, and I want to go through and show you what we found. We've got it all disassembled and inspected. One of the main things that caused the failure on this transmission is this bushing right here, and bushing completely spun out and was blocking the holes right here on this shaft assembly. So that caused a problem which burnt up these clutches right here. You can see where these clutches here are light brown, and these have gotten real hot. Both these two sets here and this one here, all three, gotten extremely overheated and burnt and turned black. The cause of the bushing failure was this component right here, which rides right here on the inside of the case assembly. And that shiny part right there, it started to wear, and so this part was rocking back and forth. And when that's rocking back and forth, then it damaged the case assembly, and both places here on the case are damaged. So we have two options here. One is to replace the case, or the other is to send it out to our machine shop and have it re-sleeved. And it's a lot less expensive to do that, so that's what we're going to choose to do here. This is the band assembly. Band is worn, paper thin, and charcoal. It has to be replaced. And then also you can see these magnets right here. These three magnets here are full of metal, and that's just debris from the transmission parts wearing down and breaking apart. The torque converter here, this torque converter is what connects the engine and the transmission together. The converter is your power transfer. The same fluid circulates back and forth between the transmission and the converter. There's also a clutch inside this torque converter, and that clutch has failed, and so the torque converter has to be replaced. There's also some damage on the hub. You can see where it's gotten hot, and there's wear marks there, which has to be perfectly smooth. So the valve body assembly right here has to be completely rebuilt, and we have an update kit to rebuild this valve body. That's basically the brain center of the transmission and controls all the shifting throughout the unit. So what we got to do is a complete full rebuild on the transmission. We're going to ship out the case assembly and replace the torque converter, get some master assembly kit with all new clutches, gaskets, lip seals, O-ring seals, and sealing rings, replace the bushings, complete bushing kit, update the valve body, calibrate that, and then replace the torque converter. And then also on this video I'm going to include our patented hot flush. We're going to have to flush the cooler lines and the cooler inside the radiator to get all the contamination and debris out of there so it doesn't go back into the newly rebuilt transmission. So there you have it. I'll get this estimate and video off to you here shortly, and then I'll be giving you a call. Thank you, Gene.
This is our hot flush. It's a patented machine that flushes the transmission cooler super clean. This is not your vehicle, but it will be hooked up to it. These red and blue hoses are hooked up to the transmission cooler lines, and this blue hose is a shop air hose, and what it does, it pumps heated fluid through the transmission for 3 seconds through the transmission cooler, and in half a second it blasts shop air backwards, and that's the pulsing of the hoses that you see in here. And it heats the fluid up to about 190. It's up to 180 right now, and it measures flow. This is how we find out, make sure that it has enough volume. It's running about 2 gallons an hour right now. Excuse me, 2 gallons a minute right now, and it's running about 50 psi, and so that's enough pressure. And that's how we get all the metal and clutch material and all the contaminants out of the transmission cooler instead of replacing it like they a lot of times recommend. But there you have it. That is the hot flush. Thanks.